A cure for disbelief. Nollaig O'Donnell. She'll have to go to hospital, the doctor said. That pain could be her appendix. She'd need to go this evening. I was in shock, but in a nice shock. My 7-year-old self could barely take in the meaning of it all. One minute I was lying there in my own little bed with a pain in my tummy, and the next I was about to be whisked off to hospital. It was exciting. I was the center of attention. From my bed, the 3 figures standing tall above me held my life in their hands. They really cared about me, and they knew what was best for me. They would look after me. I waved to Auntie No through the back window of the car. She was standing just outside the gate. She smiled and waved back. The car pulled out, and I knew I was going somewhere very, very different. Mama and I sat across from each other in a small room in the hospital. That was after the doctors and nurses had seen me and poked me and talked about the pain in my tummy. "This is very exciting for you," Mama said, knowing how much I loved an adventure. "You can go to bed now, and we'll be over to see you tomorrow. It's great that tomorrow is Saturday, so Dada is off." "But what if they don't let you in to see me?" I asked. "Of course they will," said Mama. "Anyway, Dada will make sure we get in to see you. Don't worry one bit." I said, "Okay." I believed. I woke up in the middle of the night, rubbing my eye. It felt swollen. A very kind nurse bent down beside my bed and said something about going back to sleep and that it would probably be fine in the morning. I fell back to sleep. Very early next morning, the nurse was back again to see me, and this time the doctor was with her, and I was taken off for some x-rays even before I had anything to eat. Then I went back to bed again, and I ate some porridge and a boiled egg. There must have been about 10 beds in my ward. My bed was halfway down one side of the ward, and the door to the ward was on the opposite side, to my left. Every time someone walked in the door, I looked up, expecting to see Dada and Mama walk in. They said they would come, and I knew they would. I kept my eye on the door. No one. About halfway through the morning, I took out my pencil and paper and started to write a letter to Granny and Grandad. They would want to know all about my time in hospital. I told them that my eye swelled up when I was asleep and that the nurse came to see me and told me that it would be fine in the morning, and it was. I said I had a boiled egg for my breakfast and that I ate it all. I finished my letter. I kept my eye on the door. No one. "What time is it, please?" I asked the nice lady in the bed beside me. "It's 11 o'clock, she said. "What's your name?" I told her, keeping my eye on the door. "Where do you live?" she asked. I told her, keeping my eye on the door. "Oh, I know your Dada and Mama," she said. "And haven't you got a big brother too?" "Yes," I told her, keeping my eye on the door. "And what are you writing?" she asked. "I wrote a letter to my Granny and Grandad," I said. "I'm going to write a letter to my Auntie No next. They'll all want to know about the hospital." "I'm sure they will," she said. "What age are you?" she asked. I told her, keeping my eye on the door. My Dada and Mama are calling over to see me. They said they would, so they should be here any minute. What time is it now? It's 11:05 now, she said. I'd say they'll be here after lunch. The lunch came. I ate some chicken and a little bit of mashed potato, and I moved the cabbage around on my plate a little, all the time keeping my eye on the door. The nice nurse asked me how I was feeling, and I said that the pain in my tummy was gone. I think it probably was. All I could feel then was that big lump in my throat when I saw all the visitors coming in to see everyone else. I decided to write another letter, this time to Dada and Mama. But first, I asked the lady in the bed beside me, "What time is it now, please?" "It's 2:30, she said. "Who are you writing to now?" I told her, keeping my eye on the door. All of a sudden, I started to cry. "Oh, now," she said. "What's wrong?" It's just that my Dada and Mama said they would come to see me today, and I'm sure they will too," she said. "They'll probably be here after tea. Don't you worry." Would they? In the morning time, she said that they would be here after lunch. She didn't know. I didn't know. No one knew. There was nothing sure anymore. Everything was different now. I felt frozen. My tears dried. There was no point in trying to explain. I could not explain. She would not understand. No one would. I could not understand what was happening myself. I just knew I couldn't believe anyone anymore. Maybe Dada and Mama would never call to see me. Maybe they didn't want me back home ever again. Maybe I would be left here with all these big people forever. Maybe they had forgotten all about me. If only I could go back home, I would never ever want to leave. Whatever made me think that hospital would be exciting? I buried my head in my pillow. I heard my name. I opened my eyes. It was the nice nurse again. She said I had to go with her. I had to have another test on my tummy. We walked down through the hospital together and into a big room for the test. It took ages. After the test, we walked back to my ward and I went back to bed again. The visitors had all gone by then. Soon it was tea time and the telly and the lights came on. I kept my eye on the door. I drank some tea and finished my fish fingers because they felt like home. I took my eye off the door. I felt a sweep of arms fling themselves around me. "Well, hello, and how's the patient?" I jumped up in the bed. It was Auntie No. Was I dreaming? "I won't stay long now," she said. "Your Dada and Mama are on their way. They'll be here any minute." What? Dada and Mama? They hadn't forgotten me. "I know Dada was here earlier, but you were having some tests," she said. "He waited for ages, but then visiting time was over and the nurse said to come back after tea. He gave her a note for you." "A note? For me?" "Yes. Did you get it?" "No," I said, as Auntie No put her hand on top of my locker and lifted a little piece of white paper with Dada's writing on it. It said, "To the best little girl in the world. See you at 7. Dada." "Now," said Auntie No, "the nurse must have left it here while you were gone to the loo. Sure, they can't wait to see you." My new friend in the bed beside me couldn't help overhearing. She gave me a wink. "What did I tell you?" she said. I nodded, but I kept my eye on the door until I saw Mam's cosy camel coat and Dada's big smile. A cure for disbelief.